Hello, everyone. Good evening. This is Eloy from Quailer 100. Well, so it's April 29th, and is it the 29th? Hold on a sec. Oh, it's 5:53 in the evening. So let's see. Tomorrow's the 30th, and then 31st. Yeah, today's the 29th. Sorry about that. I am losing my date here, but that's actually normal for me. So here's the update. Internationally, again, over 3 million have been tested. The Oh yeah, I'm thinking about something else. Sorry, not a good way to start. And over 200,000 that perished. May they rest in peace. The stock market just went up by over 500 points. It went up by 2.5%. Namely because there's promising. There seems to be a drug that's showing promise. Is rem. Oh man, hold on a sec. I I keep thinking it is remdesivir. So which is an antiviral. So it's made by Gilead, which made the stock market go up. The Nasdaq went up by over 300. The Dow Jones Industrials went up by over 500. S&P, I don't really know how much it went up. So it was showing some promise. This is made by Gilead, which is an Israeli company. So I think I kind of read about something like that they're trying in Israel. So it sounds like there's positive news going out regarding that. So that's good. Um, what else is going on worldwide? So it's still um, about the same. Everybody's still pissed off at China. China is trying to send equipment, but people are buying their kindness. People are questioning China still. um, Looks like there's a lot of distraction in the Southeast Asia, where uh, Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Vietnam and China are concerned. So that's what's going on. And nationwide, like I said, the stock market has gone up despite reports that the economy had actually gone down. I think the GDP, the gross domestic product, had gone down by 4.8%, almost 5%. But they're saying that it could be much lower since this actually included, this was a first quarter report, which included January and February, where the United States wasn't really hit that bad. Still ongoing reports regarding the meat processing plants. President Trump wants them to stay open, and I think I had mentioned yesterday. It's like yeah, you may want it open, but where are you going to get the people to really to do the processing in Southern California? I guess there was reports this morning that the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, was not too happy with the beaches in Orange County, which showed lots and lots of people. Uh, and I guess the governor, I guess they're just treating them as recommendations, not as law, because Orange County, they're planning on opening more beaches. So which isn't really that good of a news, as well as 1,000 deaths have already uh, have already happened. So speaking of deaths, I'm going to segue into the title. But I'm gonna before I do that, I don't I'm gonna not jump into that. And it looks like actually at work we got free masks. It feels like they're made from polyester or spandex. So there were some who were complaining that why, if they can make these masks, why can't they make N95s and give us something safer? And so one was actually wanted to protest and just give it back. So others were somewhat appreciative in wearing them, but people are wearing double masks at work. So that's still the climate. My student came in today. she was saying that a lot of the patients she's seeing where she works at the county is that they're actually they're full of patients that are positive for COVID. So it's kind of like this. Back in the COVID, before COVID, we always tested for MRSA, MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, because it's very contagious, right? So people would actually, if they got admitted, they would get a nasal swab, and if it was positive for MRSA, they would be placed in a separate room. So that's kind of the case right now. So if you had an appendicitis, you would, you would have a diagnosis of appendicitis, uh, you know, um, and then you would actually have COVID positive, which was similar, which I think it hasn't really changed, but it just kind of sounds kind of crazy. And my student was saying, "Oh, did you know that if you have the diagnosis of COVID, you get $30,000 more? They're giving you $30,000." Well, I kind of told her that it's about reimbursement. So right now there's funds to help with COVID that are because it takes up more resources, right? More people have to use PPEs, more staffing, so on and so forth. And so it's just compensation to take care of patients with COVID. I don't think it's like, oh, hey, you know what? You have appendicitis, you don't have COVID. We'll say that you have COVID. We'll give you $30,000 just to say he has COVID. No, that's not what they're saying at all. It's basically it's just if you know anything about medical billing, if you bill if you add COVID in the billing, then you will get a higher reimbursement just because of the acuity that it just changes the acuity of things. You know, it's is it is it a conspiracy? No, it's just it is what it is. It's called fee. It's a fee for service. It's reimbursement. So it's not that they are making patients to look like they're more COVID than they really are. So speaking of COVID, a coworker of mine, well, she's an RN. Actually, I was talking to her Friday and probably seen her a couple of times this week. It's Wednesday today. So I find out today that she tested positive for COVID. No, she's not dead. I'll get to that in a little bit. Who died? So she tested positive, and she ended up sitting home later this afternoon. So I didn't find out about it till like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And that this RN and I were talking actually Friday, and I don't know whether she listened to me or just coincidence, but it is what it is. And I'll just tell you the story. So Friday, she and I actually she belongs to another team. With this big building, if you can imagine a square, that's our building. It's not necessarily a square, but it's divided into four sections. We have a one team here, a team there, team here where I belong, and a team there. So she's from this team, and I'm on this team. But the reason why I went to this team and talked to her was because I was looking for a nurse practitioner who I was covering for. Or actually, I think I might have just no, I wasn't even looking for the nurse practitioner. I was covering for her, and I knew that she wasn't there. I was actually looking for her nurse who was actually there, and it turns out that her nurse wasn't there. The nurse practitioner I'm covering wasn't there either. So this girl that I talked to, the nurse, used to be the nurse for this nurse practitioner I was covering. So we got to talking, and it's cordial. So it's a hallway. She's on one side of the hallway. I'm on the other side. I'd say this is about 7 feet. It's a big building. She had her mask on. I had my mask on. We were talking about one day she had brought some citrus, and somebody told her they were pomelo. I said these aren't pomelo. This is a Oro Blanco grapefruit. And so we got to talking, and because she saw me, she approached me. She says, "Hey, what did you say those citrus were?" I said, "It's Oro Blanco." And we got to talking, and so we from one subject to another. She said, "Yeah, my daughter is living in that house where I got the citrus, and that she had to go there because the person you're trying to talk to that you're covering for actually ended up going home for 14 days because she thought she was exposed, and she did not, and she did not, and I wanted to know. This girl I was talking to said, I wanted to know what her results were, but she wouldn't tell me. And then she didn't actually come back for 14 days, and turns out that she was negative. But in the meantime, this nurse said, "Oh, I actually had to send my daughter away, just to be safe." She says, she's living in my ex mother-in-law's house. She's there all alone. There was she was walking her dog one day, and there was this guy who just stopped all of a sudden. So this nurse I'm talking to, her, she's about probably my age, in her 50s, maybe a few years younger. So I actually, I guess she has a daughter who's in their 20s, right? And hello, Miss Cello Alta. Thank you for joining. I'm just telling my story here. So her daughter was walking in a relatively safe neighborhood, and I guess this guy just slowed down, and this kind of her daughter was kind of on alert. She was walking her dog, and so as she was, her daughter was continued walking with her dog. This guy turns around and sort of like, and she started getting alert, and so she just ran really fast and actually and ran away, because she was really suspicious of this person who came out of nowhere in a car that just started following her. So so she got to her where she's staying, and so this nurse who I was talking to got kind of worried, and she actually wants her daughter to come back. I said, you know what? I can understand, because I have my son who's the same. I want him to come home. I haven't hugged him in over 6 weeks. Neither have I hugged his cats. And I said, I feel bad. I wish I can get tested. And she says, yeah, she says, I wish I can get tested too. I said, yeah, I said, it's kind of maybe a good idea. If you get tested, at least if you're positive, then, and you don't die, then, hey, you're over and done with the infection, right? Hopefully that's what it is. You get the infection, you get a mild case, you survive, and then maybe you won't get any other problems. Then, you can tell. So I guess she must have been thinking that. And so sorry about that. My internet just kind of went weak. So she, I guess, got tested, and she must have been tested either Monday, because we were talking about, oh, where can you get tested? I said, oh, LA County is now testing frontliners. I said, you have to go in and make an appointment. And I guess that's what she might have done. So I guess she might have, I said, but the first question is, do you have any symptoms? Yes or no? And I guess she somehow probably put in that she had symptoms and got tested. Lo and behold, she probably got tested either Monday, Tuesday, or maybe even today, Wednesday. And so I hear later this afternoon that she's positive for COVID. No symptoms. And, I was talking to her on Friday. I was talking again, her again, like I think a couple of days ago, and even yesterday. And so she tests positive. Luckily, I have a mask on, and we wash our hands religiously. So actually this morning after I went to lunch, all right, Miss Chela Alta, thank you for watching. Please don't burn what you're cooking, guys. Please share what you're cooking. It sounds like it's good. If I've seen your other videos. Shout out to Miss Cello Alta. To anyone who watches this, it's spelled CHELLO space Alta, ALTA. She's got a great new YouTube video. She does these wonderful recipes. She's got mango pie. She's got like banana pie. She's got sinigang with liver. Who would have thought? Who would even think about putting something like that? I hear if you watch the video, man, it looks awesome. I can't wait to try that. And I actually am actually challenging her to cook some other stuff. So hopefully we see more of you, Miss Cello Alta. It is Miss, right? I hope you're not a Mister. Well, either way, Mister or Miss, but I think you're a Miss. So good job on your cooking. I can't wait to try it. So anyway, so after lunch today, wow, what a segue, huh? So I actually went to lunch today, and I went to lunch with one of the clerks, and I was saying, hey, I said, look at that guy. I said, and I know who he was. It was the guy. It was the employee health provider. I said that's a hardworking gay a guy, not gay guy. I said I said he has probably swabbed more people than any of us providers combined. I said he did this in the nursing home, and then I said, hey, how's it going, Mike? And so he says, hey, I said, I just to break the ice, I said, you're the hardest working guy I know. I said, you swab more people than anyone. He says, yeah. He says, you know what? I have to swab 30 more people. I go, how? What? I said, who are you swabbing? He says, well, he says, he says, I have to swab people from this team here. Remember the one I said, the team here? And he says, this team here and this team here. He says, I think I might have to do 30 more. I go, oh, I wonder who it is. So this is before I found out that it was, we'll call her Nerissa. That's not her real name, but we'll call her that. She said, and I didn't know that Nerissa was actually positive. And so Mike was not his real name, but we'll call him Mike. Said that, he says, I don't get it. He says, we had staff get tested and she's positive. I don't know why she got tested. She didn't have any symptoms. Now that she's positive, I got to test everybody. She says, I got to test over 30 people. And I go, oh, man. So I didn't know it was Nerissa, right? So so after lunch, I actually, being inquisitive that I was, so I actually, the person that I was covering, this nurse practitioner, I actually went there just on the pretense that I wanted her to see one of the forms that I was working on, and I wanted their opinion, and we got to talking, and I said, "Hey, who's this in your team that tested positive?" She said, "Nerissa." I go, "Oh." I said, "I was just talking to her," and yeah, so so she tested positive. I'm doing okay. I got no symptoms, but I just texted everyone and to let them know that, hey, I probably won't be seeing you. I talked to my son. I said, you know what? I might not. Excuse me. I said I might not be visiting this week, and I said it's just a precaution. I don't have any symptoms. I said, but that's just to give you an update, so you don't feel like I'm, abandoning you or anything. And then he texts back. He says, um, I think he wrote something that I think he wrote something like OMG, and then and then he follows it with, "Wow, you and mom get." He says, "You and mom have the same news on the same day." I go, "Huh? What?" So I was actually at work when I had this. So I got home, and so actually, I texted him. I said, "Blah blah blah." I said, "Don't worry," and then he calls me, which he usually doesn't call me. So he calls me up and he's cooking. He's cooking tacos, so that's what he sent me for dinner, which is great. Of course, he's got it on speaker, so I don't really understand what he says. So he tells me that his mom, who works in a nursing home where a lot of these resident patients are that are coming positive, he said that she told his mom told my son that there were residents who tested positive, and so I guess she just wanted to share that news. I don't know whether she got tested or she's going to be tested because my son doesn't know. So that's kind of that. She's actually in Florida, which is like that's like it's almost another country over. they're over like 3,000 miles away. So she's in Florida and I'm in California. So that was the news. So I said that somebody tested positive for COVID and somebody died. Well, who died? Who do I know that died? Well, it's the person who worked at the Starbucks, and this person is in her 60s, and we'll call her Rianne. That's not her real name. So Rianne is sort of like this Caucasian woman in her 60s. I guess she's got a wild streak. I guess she has a 300ZX Nissan twin turbo, and she also has a motorcycle. So I used to joke around with her. She would like she is a very not a very speedy person when she acts, and she will she is able to drag out a word for a long time, if you know what I mean, if you've ever seen those. And I actually wasn't really too fond of her, but I'm not gonna get mad at a dead person or wish her ill will. May she rest in peace. But what happened is that, so how did Rianne die, right? So I just found out that Friday, I found out yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah, it was probably yesterday. I found out yesterday that she passed away. So Rianne, the 60-year-old something woman, passed away Saturday. It wasn't from COVID though. It was from riding her motorcycle. So may she rest in peace. God have mercy in her soul. So she passed away. Thank you, Miss Chela Alto, for your concern. But I will. I should be safe. So she passed away. I guess she was riding her motorcycle, and yeah. So that's who passed away. So it's not from COVID. So as I mentioned before, with this COVID, you will know some. You're probably gonna know someone who knows someone who knows someone who has COVID. Well, it's a little closer to home. So far, it looks like a cousin's daughter had COVID, but I think she's recovering. I haven't really seen that Facebook. And a coworker who I was talking to tested positive, but she doesn't have any symptoms. So the cousin's niece is probably in her 30s or early 40s. This one is about my age, probably late 40s or early 50s. So that's the update today. So, I hope this isn't really the sign of things that, it's spreading more and more. Oh, yeah, just another thing locally is that one of the prisons, Terminal Island Prison, I think 40% of the inmates test over 40%. I think it's like 46. I mean, let's just call it 40. About 40% of the population of the prison tested positive. So the local, what is it? Department of Health. What do they call it again? Anyway, she works for the Department of Health. I forgot her title. Man, I'm just forgetting. It's not that important. So she's saying that the reason why they have such a high incidence rate in prison is because more of them are now being tested. So I think as they do more testing, more people are going to be positive. And I think they had mentioned somewhere that about 42% are probably infected with the COVID right now. So it's getting closer and closer to home. I hope it doesn't hit home. Let's just hope and pray that this is where it stops. For some, it's hit home already, but I think we should need to continue to be cautious, continue with social distancing. I haven't heard from the president of the Philippines or any of his representatives regarding my offer to share plans to build ventilators. So I wish you all a good night. Keep safe, take care, and I'll give you an update tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.